Hi, I'm Mike Carleton. I'm the former Chief Information Officer at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the U.S. General Services Administration, where I spent 11 years of my 35 years in the federal government. During that time, the federal government and most other large organizations have come to see the value of information as a resource on a par with money or personnel or intellectual property. And today, with the advent of very large data sets and tools of analysis that can handle very large amounts of data and process them very quickly, that information is in a position to be put to greater use than it ever has before. In fact, one of the more interesting things now is the secondary uses and the uses in combining different data sets in ways that hadn't been considered in advance and can prove to have large business value. The health sector, which is familiar to me, is probably a great example of that right now. Earlier this year, the fourth Health Data Palooza took place with 2,000 folks gathering from the equity finance, entrepreneur, public health, and statistician world to see what kind of value can be released from large health data sets. Imagine, if you will, the opportunity, instead of just digitizing a medical record, which is a big step forward, and having vital sign information available when somebody comes to visit a clinician at an office, that in the case of the increasingly elderly population of the United States, that you could have a fairly continuous flow of whatever indicators seemed of most importance, especially those related to cardiovascular conditions or diabetic conditions. So the opportunities to collect large amounts of data and to do valuable, and in the case of health, valuable preventive things with them it holds the promise of what you might call the stitch in time. That is true as well for a lot of the emergency room visits that take place on the private side of the U.S. health system, many of them financed by social insurance, and it's true for the substance abuse and the mental health world as well. So I'd say the health sector in the private economy in the U.S., which is huge, is a good example of one area where different and better uses of large amounts of data, where the data can change rapidly and be put to use in near real time, could be a boon to prevention in the health field.